Some are arguing that no rate cuts are imminent, and we could even see a rate increase this year. Other members of the Fed I saw indicating that where they've raised rates to date is sufficient, and that will do what's necessary to get us in line with the Fed target for inflation. And so that particular member didn't see any need for any increases. So there's a mixed bag there in terms of the members of the Fed. As with anything, you can expect that they're not all going to agree. So in that regard, in terms of hearing 9 different Fed members give their speeches and their talks, it's hard to kind of garner a conclusion about where we go from here. Midweek, I will point out to you, when you saw that chart, Wednesday and Thursday, the bond yield started to inch back up after Tuesday. Part of the reason for that is a little bit more technical. It was Treasury bond sales on May 8th and May 9th. We had scheduled Treasury auctions, including 10-year Treasury bonds being auctioned off. And oftentimes what happens when there is substantial Treasury auction scheduled on any particular week, to get those Treasury bonds sold, you can sometimes see what I call a yield bump. And I think that's really part of what happened as we got into midweek, Wednesday morning and this morning with these Treasury auctions. That did cause a little bit of a bump in that yield when we were getting down in the low 440s, and we got back up to around 450 plus by Wednesday afternoon and even this morning. But those auctions are over now, and it's probably not a coincidence that as we got into later today, that bond yield's now trickling back down, under 450, under 445. In fact, at the latest that I just looked at, so that's good. And in terms of economic data reports this week, like I said, very light calendar. However, today we did have initial claims for unemployment. And that number is interesting. And it's another sign that maybe the labor market is softening up a little bit. And that's a key barometer to track where these mortgage rates and bond yields are going to go. Initial claims reported today, 231,000 claims for unemployment benefits. That was pretty good amount above the forecast. It was forecast for 214,000. The previous week, it was 209,000. So 209 to 231,000 claims for unemployment benefit. That's a pretty good jump. That's also part of the reason why the bond yield today, the 10-year bond, got back off of that 450.